Hey, what's up everyone? The Dan Sandwich here, and today I'm back in NBA 2K22. And today we'll be wrapping up the series I've been doing for a little while, where I deleted the NBA, replaced it with a bunch of randomly generated created players, and then have been simulating ever since. So far, we are 40 years into this simulation. Today we'll be finishing out the last 10 seasons of this, taking it to year 50. And in the last video, we saw the ascension of this guy right here, Desmond Jeffries. He so far has 4 MVPs, I believe. Yeah, so far, Desmond Jeffries has 4 MVPs. He got a championship in his second season in the league. So he is kind of the next rising star that we've been seeing so far. We also have Calbert Washington Jr., who's been really, really great for a while. He's got a couple MVPs to his name as well. So this is the state of the NBA right now. Not a whole lot of star power. So we just got these two guys that are 90 or above, and then everyone else is in that 80 range. Donovan Thomas is like kind of the next guy who is maybe on the way up in terms of ability. So yeah, this is going to be the final 10 seasons of the simulation. Right now it's 2061. We're going to take it to 2071. And then we'll do a catch up at the end to see the history of this league over the last 50 years. As always, we're going to jump into the NBA draft and see if there's anybody else that's kind of on the rise. All right, here we have Chip Sharp, which is a really funny name. He's a 6'10 shooting guard who has a Hall of Fame ceiling and a starter floor. So he's at least going to be pretty good. And he's starting out at an 80 overall. So pretty interesting rookie here. We have another Hall of Fame ceiling guy, and Abe Maggette. So a pretty decent draft this year. Another Hall of Fame ceiling guy right here, Monte Falls. So a couple of guys here that could be worth checking out in the future. But let's get into the start of this first season of this video, but the 41st video, or 41st season of this series so far. All right, so just checking in at the start of the season after the player progression stuff has gone through, and Desmond Jeffries is up to a 96 overall, which is important because he is now officially the highest rated player we've ever had in this series. Previously, we had a couple of guys get to 95, but he's the first one who has made it into the 96 range. A couple of other guys have bumped up into the 90 overall club as well. There's Donovan Thomas. We talked about him a little bit earlier and his potential. So that's pretty exciting. We have a couple of guys on the way up. But let's get to the end of this season and see who wins the awards. But yeah, Desmond Jeffries is in rare company right now with his 5th MVP award and 5 in a row, which is just insane. Chip Sharp, who was the first overall pick this year, wins Rookie of the Year. So that's good for him. And then Desmond Jeffries also gathers another Defensive Player of the Year award, which he's been getting a lot of those lately. Calbert Washington Jr. is still here as the first team All-NBA. And then also we have Donovan Thomas as well as a first team All-NBA player as well. Is that his first? Yeah, it's his first team All-NBA award. And he made the All-Star team this year for the first time as well. So a good season for him. Charlotte was the number 2 seed in the East. So they had a really awesome season, obviously. So let's see. And then let's see. This was Sharp's team, the Cavaliers. They're in the playoffs already as well. So he's already off to a really great start to his career. But let's see who wins the championship this season. Can Jeffries get himself another championship? He cannot. He gets knocked out in the second round again. So he had that first championship in his second season, and he hasn't been able to make it back to the finals since. And then Charles Guerrero, who has been one of the top players in the NBA, he makes his first finals appearance and championship. All right, so we got another really promising rookie here. Also 7'3", just like Jeffries is. He's an 84 overall already to start. That might be the highest overall we've seen out of a rookie this video. But he's a Hall of Fame ceiling of Hakeem Olajuwon, but a floor of Elton Brand. So he's going to be at least a pretty good player. But that's really, really cool. We're starting to see some really intriguing players. Young Long Lee, that's hard to say. is also having a Hall of Fame ceiling as well. He's 7'1". So we got a couple of guys here who have some promise coming into the season. Once again, a few were like really old rookies, a bunch of 25-year-olds, which is really odd. But that's great to see. Let's move into the start of next season and see who the best players in the NBA are this year. All right, at the start of the 2062-2063 season, Desmond Jeffries is still the best player in the NBA, 96 overall. He re-signed with the Charlotte Hornets, so he's still there. Got another 3 years in there. Calbert Washington is still one of the best players in the NBA. He's still on the Pacers. Donovan Thomas is on the I almost said New Jersey Nets. He's on the Brooklyn Nets. Guerrero, who just won the championship, is still on the Bulls. But yeah, that's where we're at the start of this season. Let's move on and get to the playoffs. Once again, Desmond Jeffries wins another MVP. That's his 6th MVP award. So he joins Zach Sims as being the only other player to win 6 MVPs, which is insane. And the craziest thing is that he's done it 6 times in a row. So without any gaps there, just unbelievable. Sims still hasn't beat when it comes to championships because Sims has 4 championships to Desmond's 1. So Desmond's really got to pick up the championship pace here. But 6 MVPs all in a row, that's just nuts. Absolutely dominating. There's Julio Bush. He's the guy who has that Hall of Fame ceiling as well. He's the next kind of guy on the way up. Anybody else? Desmond Jeffries gets another Defensive Player of the Year. Just unbelievable. So let's go into the playoffs. Charlotte is the number 1 seed. And then here is Chip's team with the number 2 seed. And then Calbert Washington is on the Pacers, and they are in the 6th seed. So those are kind of the 3 teams to look at in the Eastern Conference there. So that's really, really, really cool. Let's see who wins the playoffs this season. All right, the Hornets are in the NBA Finals against the Lakers. Can they win a championship? And they do. Okay, so Desmond heard what I was saying about the championships mattering, and he gets his 2nd NBA championship of his career at age 28. So that's a pretty big gap between championships. He won it in his 2nd season, and now much later in his career. Going to the offseason this year, there we have another Hall of Fame inductee. Let's see if there's anybody that we remember. There's Kenny Swift. So this guy and Alexi Clayton. So these guys were 2 of the best players in the NBA for a really long time. Let me go look at their accolades. Yeah, so Swift, he won an MVP award. No championships, but he did win 6 Defensive Player of the Year awards. So that was really big for him. He spent 19 years in the NBA, so that's really good. We don't see that too often. And then in Clayton, this guy won 2 championships and 4 MVPs. So he had a really awesome career as well. He had a 10-year gap between championships. That's kind of the notable thing about him, is he won a championship in 51 and then won another championship in 61. Can we get another Hall of Fame ceiling guy for like the 3rd year in a row? Yeah, this guy is a Hall of Fame ceiling of Kevin Durant. So for the 3rd season in a row, the 1st overall pick has a really high ceiling. Does not starting off super high. 78 though is still respectable. Actually, how old is he? 22. So not the oldest guy we've seen in the draft. Here we are at the start of the 2063 season. We've got a lot more guys in this 90 overall range, which is cool. Donovan Thomas is up here now at a 92 overall. Charles Guerrero is still here. Chip Sharp is already a 91 overall in his 3rd season, so that's awesome. And then you have Julio Bush already at an 89, which is crazy. So we got a couple of guys, a couple of younger guys that are on the way up in contention for that top spot. Desmond Jeffries is still the number 1 player in the league. Can he win a record-breaking 7th MVP this season? We'll find out. So for the first time in 6 years, Desmond Jeffries does not win MVP. That goes to Arthur Rodman, who averaged 34 points and 9 assists. That's awesome. That's a crazy good season. Jeremy Lowry wins the Rookie of the Year. And then we have a different Defensive Player of the Year this year as well. So AC Oakley. So maybe Jeffries is less concerned with regular season success. He just wants those championships now. Hopefully he can get another one this year. Everything looking kind of the same up here for first team All-NBA. Charlotte was the number 1 seed in the East again, and then Cleveland was the 2nd seed in the East again as well. And then we also have Indiana with Calbert Washington Jr. and the 4th seed. But let's move on to the end of the playoffs, see who wins the championship this year. Can Jeffries get his 3rd championship? No, we get eliminated in round 1. So that's surprising. Calbert Washington is in the Eastern Conference Finals and the NBA Finals. Can he win another championship? And no, Minnesota wins another title, and that's Arthur Rodman's team. So regular season MVP and Finals MVP. And he's 30, so he kind of peaks a little bit late. So we got another guy who's starting out as an 80 overall. Now his projected ceiling is only All-Star, but still a really good draft this year as well. Which is crazy. Like, we had all those seasons in a row with like really nobody of note coming out of the NBA draft, and now we're getting them like year after year after year, which is just a really funny way to end this series. We're getting all the best players late on. All right, at the start of the 2064 season, and Chip Sharp now is the best rated player in the NBA. Slightly above Desmond Jeffries. They're both 96 overall, but they are the 2 best players in the NBA right now, which is crazy. Calbert Washington Jr. is starting to slowly regress now as well. He's down to a 90, but he's 32, so that's kind of to be expected. We have Julio Bush up to a 91 now. Not a huge improvement over last season because he went from 89 to 91, so not a crazy jump there. Donovan Thomas is still up here at 91. The quality of the league is now steadily starting to climb up. Now that we are getting to the end of this, and just now they're starting to get better players in here. All right, there it is. Desmond Jeffries making his case for the GOAT for winning his 7th MVP award, more than anyone ever in the real NBA or this version, which is crazy. So yeah, man, 7 MVPs for Desmond Jeffries. He just needs some more championships, man. That's really the only thing holding him back from, being in that true GOAT conversation. Charlotte was the number 1 seed in the East again. Cleveland dropped down to the 5th seed behind Chip Sharp. So that's interesting. Indiana is still hanging around as the 7th seed. So we'll see what happens in the playoffs this year. Charlotte making it to the NBA Finals again, and they win another championship. So that's his 3rd championship already. He's really got to keep it going, though, because, again, Sims had 4, but 7 MVPs and 3 championships, or 6 MVPs and 4 championships. It kind of, depends on what you would rather have. Another season with the Hall of Fame inductee, and that's Quinn Jeffries. So that's Desmond's older brother. He had a really great career. Let's jump into here, see what his accolades were. So he won an NBA championship, multi-time All-Star, never won MVP, but he was the most improved player, which is interesting. But yeah, he had a really great career as well. All right, this year's NBA draft, we have a pretty decent level of quality players here. But again, a lot of these are much older players for some reason. We have like a 26-year-old in the first round, which is nuts. So yeah, that's what we have going on. Nobody with a Hall of Fame ceiling, but a lot of really good quality players there. All right, at the start of the 2065 season, and Chip Sharp and Desmond Jeffries are still the 2 best players in the NBA, and they are still at 96 overall. And then we have Julio Bush on the way up at 93 overall. Calbert Washington is starting to regress even further. He's 33, so that's to be expected. But yeah, this is kind of the battle we are going to be looking at. Kind of the old veteran with established career, a couple of championships under his belt already, versus like the young up-and-comer. But Chip, he's got to make his MVP case at some point if he's going to be one of the best players in this NBA. And Desmond Jeffries wins his 8th MVP award. So yeah, this guy might be the GOAT now. 8 MVPs, 3 championships, puts him 2 ahead of Zach Sims in the MVP race, in the MVP awards. and only one fewer championship. So I don't know. That's pretty awesome. This dude is incredible. I mean, 50, 40, 90 as well on the season at a 7'3" center. So this is a guy who plays incredible defense. He can knock down the 3-point shot. He's just a monster. And he wins another Defensive Player of the Year award as well. So yeah, he can't be stopped. He simply can't be stopped. Although he is injured right now. So maybe he can be stopped. But they were still the number 1 seed in the East. The Pacers with Calvert Washington are the 2nd seed in the East. So he's still kicking around. Charlotte is in the Eastern Conference Finals, now in the NBA Finals, up against the Pelicans. And they're up game 7. All right. There it is. So that's his 4th championship, his 8th MVP. That puts him solidly, firmly in the GOAT realm. Like, there's no debate anymore. The most championships of any singular player, tied for the most with 4, far and away the most MVPs. So yeah, definitely going to be the best player of all time, without debate. 2066, so we got 5 more years of this simulation. There's another NBA draft with a couple like decent quality players, but nobody with like a super high ceiling. Let's just move on to the start of the next season. And then at the start of the season, Chip Sharp now is the highest rated player we've ever seen. That is 97. Could we get a 99? That'd be crazy if we got a 99 in the last 10 seasons of the simulation. That would be nuts. Julio Bush is up here at 93. Desmond Jeffries is still a 96 overall, despite being 32 years old. So this dude's got the longest peak out of anyone we've seen so far. And then, yeah, that's the rest of the league there. Let's move on to the end of this season. All right, they should just rename the award at this point now. 9 MVPs. Crazy. Just insane. Just a monster. And the Hornets are the number 1 seed in the East, and the Cavaliers are the number 2 seed. This is his best chance at winning a championship this year in a while, being the de facto best player in the NBA. The Hornets are out in the 2nd round, so it is Chip Sharp's championship to lose, but he can't make it to the finals. And we have Pistons and the Mavericks in the finals, and Pistons win behind Hans Hoffman, which is not a name we've heard so far. We got a power forward drafted 3rd overall by the name of Mark Law with a Hall of Fame ceiling of Tim Duncan. He's starting out at 79 overall, so that's really, really good. Another guy at 78 overall, but not as high of a ceiling for him. So that's exciting. We might have another guy on the way up right there. All right, at the start of the 2067 season, and Desmond Jeffries is finally starting to regress. He's still at 93, so still a really awesome player. But he's definitely starting to regress, and so is Julio Bush, which is a guy we haven't really seen much out of him this simulation either, despite being one of the best players in the league. Chip Sharp is still the best player in the NBA now by quite a wide margin, with Jeffries starting to regress. He started the season injured, but it's just day-to-day, so it's probably nothing serious. So he might have got injured in the playoffs last season, which is why they lost, which would explain something there. All right, so Chip Sharp wins his first MVP and scores 38 points a game. That's crazy. That's got to be the highest total we've seen so far. That's nuts. That's crazy. 38, 8, and 6, 50, 82, 44% shooting from the 3-point line. So yeah, I think he heard my smack talk and is definitely trying to step it up now. Desmond Jeffries wins another Defensive Player of the Year. He's got, maybe as many of those as he has MVPs now, which is a lot. The Cavaliers are the number 1 seed in the East. Charlotte is down to the 3rd seed. So this is really, again, Chip's gotta make a chance for a championship here. Hornets get knocked out round 1. Cavaliers are in the Eastern Conference Finals, but can't make it past Detroit. Yeah, man, Chip is not. Maybe not going to get a championship. Jeremy Lowry wins Finals MVP for the Denver Nuggets. All right, so here we are at the start of the 2068 season, and we just have 3 more seasons left of this simulation. Will Chip Sharp get a championship in those 3 seasons? Remains to be seen. Julio Bush is up to a 93 overall now. Desmond Jeffries is down to a 92, so he's definitely starting to regress much further. All right, at the end of the 2069 season, nice. Max Malone is the MVP this year, scoring 38 points a game and is getting 10 rebounds. So the scoring must be really getting higher in this league, which is crazy. But yeah, we had 38 points last season from Chip Sharp. This season, we got another 38 point a game season from Max Malone. So that's crazy. Desmond Jeffries, what's that? His 11th, 10th Defensive Player of the Year award. Crazy, just craziness. Into the playoffs, and Charlotte was only a 7th seed this year. So Desmond, late in his career, is just having a hard time carrying his team to a winning seed, well, to a really high seed. But Chip Sharp with the Cavaliers is number 1 in the playoffs this year. Hornets get knocked out in round 2, preventing a Chip Sharp conference finals. But yeah, the Cavaliers win their first championship with Chip Sharp. Didn't think that was going to happen. I'll be honest with you. Just hasn't really been doing much. But he averaged 40 points a game in the finals. That's awesome, dude. 47 and 9.5 assists with almost 3 steals a game. That's crazy, dude. So he really is that guy. But this is his first time winning a championship. We have a Hall of Fame inductee this season. Let's see who it is. And it's Calvert Washington Jr. Yep. And then Arthur Rodman. So those two guys were huge throughout the course of the simulation. 2 of the best players to ever do it. All right, at the start of the 2069 season, and we have Chip Sharp now regressing down to a 94. Julio Bush is still a 93. Max Malone, who was the MVP last season, 91. Donovan Thomas is still up here to 91. But let's see, Desmond Jeffries is down to 89 now. But yeah, I mean, he's 35 years old. Nearing the end of his career. Still one of the best players in the NBA, but not the top of the ranking anymore. All right, at the end of the 2070 season, so the second to last season of this series, Chip Sharp wins his second MVP award. The Hornets didn't even make the playoffs this year, which is a bummer. Julio Bush wins his first Defensive Player of the Year. That's the first award we've seen him win. And Desmond Jeffries is only on the 3rd team All-NBA this season. So yeah, he's definitely fallen off big time there. So let's follow the Cavaliers, who were the first seed in the Eastern Conference. Can they win a second championship? And they get eliminated round 1 by Brooklyn. So that's crazy. And then the Oklahoma City Thunder win a championship against Toronto Raptors. And Austin Copeland is your finals MVP. 82 overall. Just another one of those guys that's like a lower overall winning finals MVP. Going into the final season of this simulation, the 2070-2071 season, we have Julio Bush as the best player in the NBA right now, followed by Mark Law, who was the first overall pick last season. So he's already progressing really, really well. Somebody named Claudio Barea is up here. Max Malone, former MVP. Chip Sharp is 31 years old now. Donovan Thomas is still here. Desmond Jeffries is down to 85 overall now. All right, Mark Law wins the final MVP award. Cleveland is only the 4th seed this year. I don't know if Chip Sharp is going to be able to make the championship this year, but who knows? I've seen 4th seeds win it before. Nope, they get eliminated in round 2. But let's see. Is Toronto in Thunder's finals again? And it would make sense that Toronto would win the last championship of this video. Because they've always been there, man. They will never leave. And they have Donovan Thomas, though. That's their best player that I think they've ever had so far. Trent Flowers and Arthur Romeo make it to the Hall of Fame. So yeah, that's 50 seasons of this simulation. Let's look back through the history. So starting in 2021, we have the Brooklyn Nets with Wendell Patton. They won the first championship. And then, I mean, I'm not going to go over all of these. Maybe we should keep track of the most winning teams in this in the history of the league. The kind of like the notable names. You know, we had Wayne McCoy was one of the best players in the NBA to start off as well. Kurt Wheeler was one of the guys we kind of looked at for a while. Wendell Patton wins his second championship here. We had Dusty West winning back-to-back. I forgot about that guy. Patrick Starks won a few in a row. There's Zach Sims' first championship of his 4. Alexi Clayton wins his first one right there before winning another one later in his career. There's Desmond Jeffrey's first championship right there as well. And then we had Alexi Clayton winning his second championship right there. Desmond Jeffries getting his second title there, and then his last 2 right there. Chip Sharp winning his first title right there. So the league leader in points in the first season was 22 a game, which is just extremely low. And then it slowly started to tick up. We had a couple of 30-point seasons here. And it kind of averaged out around there, it looks like. But then it came back down to like 26, 24, back up to 30. Kind of shifts a little bit here and there with like the give and take of the league. 23 points a game there. And then it just kind of blew up at one point near the end here where it went up to like 37, 38, 34. That's crazy. Here are your MVPs. So we had Wendell Patton winning his 2 MVPs right here. Thomas Irvin got a couple MVPs as well. Wayne McCoy had 3. Stevie Woods had like what, 5? Yeah, he had 5 of them. Curtis Whitehead had 3 MVPs. Patrick Starks got a couple. There's Zach Sims winning his 6 MVPs right there. Alexi Clayton picking up 4 MVPs. Calvert Washington with 2. And then there's Desmond Jeffries winning his 6 in a row right there. And then picking up 3 more for a total of 9. All right, so I just went through the entire list of all of the champions in this simulation, and the Raptors by far have the most. They have 6 championships, which is just crazy. The second best teams are the Hornets, the Bucks, and the Warriors, who all have 4. But the Raptors far and away have been the most dominant team of this simulation, having a couple in a few years there, and then winning one in the last season. So that's what you have to look forward to, I guess, if you're a Raptors fan. But yeah, that's going to be it. This was really awesome. A really interesting way to kind of simulate through the history of the league. But yeah, so that's going to be it for this one. I had a lot of fun doing this. If you like the video, hit the like button on the video. If you want to see more stuff like this, hit the subscribe button. Stuff like that YouTubers tell you to do. But yeah, that'll be it for this video. I hope you have a great day or whatever, and see you guys in the next one.